Today, let's learn about a person's personal detail page because we spend so much time in this area. Right now, I'm just on the main page of FamilySearch.org, and if I go over and hover over Family Tree and click on the tree, it's going to jump me right into my landscape view because that's the last view I was looking at, and I can then look and see how my ancestors are connected to each other. Every one of these ancestors has their very own personal detail page, and you get to that by hovering over the one you want to go into, click on their name, and a personal summary card comes up for them. I can then either click on their name at the top or down here where it says person. Either one is going to take me to the exact same place, which is their personal detail page. From here you can see at the top of this there's this gray area that just gives me a quick view of her name, when she was born and died, and her ID number. Every person inside the tree has their own personal ID number. I can go view her back in the tree. If I were to click on that, it would take me back into that landscape view that we just left. This right here says unwatch, which means I'm actually watching her. And if you don't have a black star, when I click on that, it makes it clear again, or gray. But to watch an ancestor and that star is black, it means that if anybody comes in and makes changes on this ancestor, FamilySearch will actually email me and let me know that changes have been made. And I love that because you can see on her 35 memories, 35 sources. I've put a lot of time and effort into this ancestor, and if anybody goes in and changes this information, I want to be notified and I want to make sure that they have done it correctly. So I love the ability to watch our ancestors. Here, if I click on this, it will show me how I am related to Ruth Celia Bonney. If I want to change her photo right here, I can actually just click on her picture, and it's going to show me every picture that is inside of her memories, and I can choose any one of those to replace the one that we were seeing by just clicking on it. Sometimes it takes it a little while, and if you don't want to be patient with that, you just go up to this refresh button over here, click on it, and it will put that picture in place. Here we have 3 different areas that we can go into. Right now we're in the details. I can go look at her memories, and I'm not going to talk about this very much right now because that's a video in itself, but I can go view her photos, any documents that are on her, stories, or audio. This other area is her temple work, her LDS temple work that I can view. So let's just jump back here to details. As I look across here, these are just quick links to jump me down the page. For instance, if I want to quickly go look at her sources, I'll just click on that and the computer scrolls down for me to where I don't have to do that myself. Now on my keyboard I'm going to hit the home button to send me back up to the top. So if I'm the type of person that doesn't like to scroll with my mouse or over here on the side with this scroll bar, then I just use these quick links to jump me down the page. Here on vital information, we see the most important information about her is the name, what sex she is, birth, christening, death, and burial. In here, if I click on any of these blue words, it opens up the ability for me to then edit, or I can just close it right back up. So let me show you here on this birth. If I go click on this birth area, I can edit the birth, which means I can change it if I feel that the date is wrong or the birthplace is incorrect. I can change that information. I can delete that information, or I can just close it right back up. I can go see the history of just what has happened on the birth, who's been putting that information in there, or who did it last, which was myself. So I can also come in here and see the different tags, which what this means is there's 10 sources that have been tagged to providing evidence of her birth date and place. And so every one of these sources that you see below here are also down here. Let me scroll down here to this source area. But I asked the computer to tag these different sources, showing that they are giving evidence that this is the correct birth as far as we can, as close as we can get it to being correct. Or you can come in here to the death, and you can see that there's 3 different sources that are being tagged to her death. So that's what tagging is. Those sources are giving evidence to the information that is in this vital area. Scrolling down here too, I can see spouses and children on the left, and you can see that she was married to 2 different men. If I want to click on the word show all, that will open up to see if she's had any other children with this other man, but she has not. I can also come back up here and click on hide all, which then closes us the ability to see their children. I can change who is the preferred couple depending on how many times these people have been married. If I clicked that, this couple would then show up as my preferred couple in my tree. But this is actually my bloodline up here, so I'm going to keep him there. I can, if I click on children, I can even add a child right here. Every one of these pencils allows me the ability to go in and edit that information. So I can edit their relationship or their marriage place or the date of their marriage. I can even change spouses with that also. I can actually come in and edit any type of relationships with a child and a parent. Or if I click on that, let me just quickly open this up. I can come in here and I can say, you know what, actually this wasn't a biological father, it was an adopted child. And so I have the ability to come in here and anything that's blue, you have the ability to click on that and add the information that you're wanting to add or delete or replace. I'm going to give a separate video on just how to go in and edit relationships because that will take me a little while in itself. On the right side, you can see that these are the parents to the person that is your main person on this personal detail page. So here I have Ruth, and I want you to look down here. You can see that Ruth is in black writing, the rest are in blue. That tells me that Ruth is the main person we're looking at. She's black on all of these areas. So here we're seeing her siblings. I can actually add another sibling over here. I can even add a parent if I wanted to show any parents that maybe had adopted this person when they were a child. I can come in down here and I can add a child with an unknown father also, if that needs to happen. Down below here we have the sources. And this also is going to be a video in itself. So I'm just going to show you this is where the sources are kept. You can add your very own sources. Like if I had a birth certificate in my hands that were hers, I could take a picture of it, I could upload that to the computer, and I can add my own source there. Or I can even go out and attach a source from my source box. So once again, I'm going to have to give future videos on just this right here. Scrolling down, I have the ability to add other information. So these things were added as we were adding sources, and we clicked on the word add as we were adding those sources, and it kind of started creating a timeline for us here. But if I click on the word add, I can add alternate names. I can put any military service. You can just kind of look down here and see the fun information you can add on your ancestors, their occupation. So it's a great place to add just some fun details about them. You can add a life sketch, notes, or even discussions. So we're going to jump back up here to the top. On the right hand side, these are research helps, and these are generated by the computer. So sometimes you may see data problems, which they're saying that this couple may have had more children because they were married for so long. It may have record hints right in this area. So this is just where the computer helps you find things that you can be working on. This area is where you're actually able to go in and search for documents on your ancestors. Each one of these websites, FamilySearch, Ancestry, Find My Past, and MyHeritage, I'm going to have to give a video on each one of them separately because they are such powerful programs that can help us dive in there and find documents on our ancestors that are absolutely amazing. So just understand, when I click in that, it takes me to that website, and then I'm able to go start searching my way through there to find documents about my ancestors, or even trees that other people have created that may be showing my ancestor belongs to their family also. Under Tools, we have the ability to go look for possible duplicates, which I've given a video on that previously, so I won't be going over that. We can report any abuse that we feel is happening on our ancestors page, whether it's words that have been offensive or pictures that have been offensive. That's where you can go report stuff like that. We no longer have the ability just to go in and delete people, which I really love that. So once a person has been put into the tree, and if nobody has added any other information on them except you can delete them. But if I were to go in and create this page for Ruth Celia Bonnie, and then somebody else comes in and adds her birth, just by that happening, I can no longer delete her. So once somebody else contributes information, I can no longer delete her, and I really love that. Okay, let's go down to the latest changes. When I click in this area, I have the ability to go see all the changes that have been made on her. So I'm going to go click into this area, and if any merges have been made, name changes, it doesn't matter, this is where I find it. And if there's anything I'm not liking, sometimes I have the ability to restore the previous information, or I basically can just go see who's been adding all this information, which you can basically see that that's been me. So anyways, that's a great place to go see all the changes that have been made on your ancestors. This last area just gives me the ability to go print off 4-generation pedigree charts, or family group records, or a 7-generation, I believe, fan chart. So just be aware of that. And then I'm going to go back up to the top up here. The last thing I want to show you is this little gear. I honestly don't know what else to call it, but when you click on that, it starts moving. And now I have the ability in this right-hand column, I can move any of these boxes with another box. So watch how I left-click and drag it down, and I just moved it. So now my research help is the second one down, and now I'm going to move it down to the third one down by left-clicking and dragging. So anything that was in that right-hand column, I can switch these areas. I can't switch from left to right. It doesn't allow me to do that. I can just go up and down. Same thing with over on the right-hand side. I can left-click these big, huge boxes, and I can move down all this vital information right before the family information. So I love the ability to customize this home page, or I should say detail page, according to the way I like to see it. And yes, it will affect every ancestor I have, but it doesn't affect other people. They can all choose their very own way of showing their personal detail page for their ancestors. Once I get the page the way I like it to look, I'll go click on this little gear again, and it stops it from moving, and now it's all solidified. I hope that was all helpful. Thank you so much for joining me.